This video shows the 2 steps necessary to perform the setup for our SafeSurf beta or our pilot. And while I'm doing this setup here in a standard user account where I don't have administrative privileges, you will need the administrator password to complete the setup. So if you're part of a company, for example, that has an IT department that locks down your machine and you can't do such an install, then I'm sorry to say the beta isn't for you. So as part of getting going, we will have sent you a link through Dropbox so that you can download a particular set of applications to do the setup. The first is an installer for X2Go, which is an open source remote desktop type application that allows you to connect up to a remote desktop session over an SSH connection. So the first thing I'm going to do is install this, and as I mentioned again a moment ago, it's going to ask me for my password. It's a pretty standard install. It'll take maybe a minute or so to complete. When we get this done, then this installs the application, and then we've provided a separate exe that just configures the application to make a specific connection for your virtual desktop, for your remote desktop. So that's done, and what this does is it puts an icon on the desktop for the application itself. I'm going to run this second exe that completes some setup steps, and that puts a second icon on the desktop that is really just a shortcut, so I can just with a couple clicks launch my session and connect. The first time I do this, I have to have a couple of additional configuration steps performed. I'm going to get 4 requests to open up some ports in my firewall, for example for the sound, and in each case I got to put in my admin password. If you do this in a admin account, that won't be necessary, but you'll still get these those firewall requests. And then I'm going to get 2 prompts along the way to allow the SSH keys to occur. Longer term, our intention is not to do things quite this way. This is just for the purposes of the pilot, but we are aiming at actually making the connection over an SSL type of login to a website, and then from there it would perform a second SSH connection to the remote desktop servers. So what should happen at this point is you should see the window start to say running. If it doesn't happen the first time, you may want to just click on this little icon down here, and now my session has begun to a remote virtual desktop. Just a couple things. When you're making this type of connection, you can see I have one window over here, and that's for the X2Go application, and I have another window over here which, if I make large, it is to my virtual machine, my remote desktop, as well as all the applications that are running inside of that. So for example, I can close Firefox here, and here's my desktop, and then I could start it up, for example, again, and have my remote desktop session where I can surf. And the goal here is to provide you a comparatively safe environment where you can do internet work without risking messing up your host computer. So thanks for watching this section of the video. We have a couple other videos on the site as to how to use the remote desktop session, as well as some troubleshooting and so on.